You finally got out. The toxic job, the draining relationship, the season that was eating you alive, all of that's behind you now. So, why do you feel worse? Why are you more tired, more emotional, more all over the place now than when you were in the thick of it? Maybe that's something that you've been wondering. There's a real reason this happens. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand what's actually happening in your body and why knowing that really changes everything. Here's what nobody warned you about or warned me about. When life gets safer, you don't automatically feel better. Sometimes you fall apart. And it's confusing because it doesn't make sense. You did the hard thing, you made the change, you got yourself out. You should be thriving right now, right? But instead, you're there crying in the car for no apparent reason. You're exhausted, even though you're sleeping more. You're snapping at people that you love and care about. You're struggling to do basic things that used to be easy. Now, maybe a part of you is wondering at this point, did I make a mistake? Was I actually better off before? You might be wondering, what is wrong with me? And I want to tell you, nothing is wrong with you. Your body is actually doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It just doesn't feel like it. Let me explain what's happening. When you're in a stressful season, whether that's a job that's running you to the ground, or whether that's a relationship that's taking everything out of you, a home situation that keeps you on edge, what happens is your body goes into a survival mode, essentially. You're not thriving, you're coping more than anything else. But you don't always know that's what's happening because you're still functioning in a sense. You're still showing up, you're still getting things done. Your body is putting everything non-essential on pause so it can focus on getting you through. Your emotions kind of get put on the shelf. Your exhaustion becomes something that you override. And the stuff that really needs to get processed gets shoved into a drawer in the closet because there's no time to deal with it right now. And that works. That's the thing. That works for a while. You keep going. You handle it. You survive. But this whole time, your body really is just keeping a tab, and it's going to come collect at some point. But anyways, then something shifts. You shift. Maybe you finally leave the job. Maybe that divorce is finalized. Maybe you move somewhere new, away from everything and everyone and every place that was draining you. Maybe your kids get older and you're just not needed in the same way. Maybe you just catch a break for the first time in years. This is when your body goes, oh, okay, we're safe now. And then everything else that it was holding, that starts to come up. And that is why you're falling apart when your life on paper, objectively, is getting better. It's not because you're weak. It's not because you can't handle the good things. It's not because there's anything wrong with you. It's literally happening because your body feels safe enough to stop just merely surviving and safe enough to start processing. All of that exhaustion that you've been overriding, guess what? It's here now. All of those emotions that you didn't have time to feel, they're showing up now. All that tension that you've carried for months or maybe years, your body is starting to let that go. And that release doesn't necessarily feel like relief. It can feel like an unraveling is happening. I talk to women all the time who are in this exact place. One woman told me that she had left a job that was destroying her mental health, and she had been counting down the days, dreaming about how good it was going to feel to be away from that job. And then a month into her new role, which was better, at a healthier environment, she could barely get out of bed some days. And she thought like something was seriously wrong with her. And I had to let her know nothing was wrong. Her body just finally had permission to crash. There's another woman that I was talking to who relocated across the country to get away from a family situation that had kept her in survival mode more or less her whole adult life. And she thought that the move was going to feel like freedom, but instead she felt the first few months more anxious and emotional than she had ever been. And she told me, she's like, I don't understand. Like, I'm finally safe. Why do I feel like I'm losing it? And I was like, you're not losing it. You're just starting to thaw out a little bit. And some of that stuff that was stuck or frozen is starting to move around a little bit. And that's a good thing. Here's the thing about survival mode. It requires you to go numb in certain ways. You have to override your own signals. You have to keep pushing even when your body is saying stop. And when you've been doing that for a long time, maybe decades, you don't even know that you're doing it anymore. It just feels like who you are. It just feels like the way you are. You're the strong one. You're the one who handles things. You're the one who keeps going no matter what. And that is a strength, but it's not strength, if that makes sense. That's a stress response that gets stuck in the on position. When life finally gets safe enough, that response starts to turn off, which is a good thing. It just doesn't always feel good. And that's the thing that I wish I would have known sooner. It can feel like everything is falling apart. And that's what I've experienced. I just want to normalize that. So if you're in this place right now, if life has objectively gotten better, but you feel so much worse, I just want you to hear this. You're not crazy. You're not broken. You didn't make the wrong decision, probably. You're not bad at handling good things. Maybe you're just finally safe enough for your body to do what it couldn't do before. And as uncomfortable as this season feels, it is actually a sign that something is shifting. And I hope that you can start to settle into that shift. Your system is starting to trust that it doesn't have to stay on high alert all the time anymore. You don't have to just be tense and on edge and just waiting for a moment to pass that never seems to pass. And there's ways to support yourself in this. There's ways to help your body move through what it's processing instead of getting stuck in it. But the first most important step is understanding what's actually happening and accepting that. Because when you think you're falling apart, it can be easy to panic. And then you start to fight it. You start to resist it. You try shoving yourself back into that mode of overfunctioning. And that only makes things harder. But when you understand that this could be your body's unique way of exhaling after years of holding its breath, then you can stop fighting it. At least that's my hope for you. My hope is that you can just let this move through in the time that it needs to move through. And this is what actually healing instead of just surviving looks like. Maybe you didn't know that. I didn't, but this is the shift that changes everything. There's no, perfect routine or like textbook, perfect example of what this looks like. There's just you getting better at understanding what your body is doing and why. And from that place, you can start working with yourself instead of working against yourself. Now, if this video speaks to where you're at right now, like if you've been in that place for a while where life got better, but you felt worse and didn't understand why, leave me a comment below. Let me know. I'm sure that I'm not just speaking to the experience that I've had. I know it's not just me. If you're in that season right now, I see you. It's not going to feel like this forever. You're not falling apart. You're finally safe enough to feel it all. And that can be a lot. But slow down the best that you can. You've got this. I'll see you in the next one.